Okay, so in this vlog I'm going to be talking about how I created my titles and problems I faced or things I did well throughout the process. I'd say the titles took me roughly 2 days to make, and yeah, it was actually really fun, so I'll get into it now. So firstly, problems. So the first problem I encountered was getting used to the software I was using. I'd never used it before. I was just having to adapt to something I haven't used. So that, to be honest, didn't take me too long. I've done like IT stuff before, so I was quite like, and we watched tutorials in our lessons on how to use Premiere and After Effects. So this wasn't too bad. This wasn't really a huge problem, but it's obviously something that people can struggle with. Next, I would say that finding the correct animation and font to match our genre of film. So this was just me scrolling through fonts, looking at animations that would look cool and sort of match what we were trying to make. So I think I spent about half an hour just looking through fonts. And this was easy because I used the fonts, which where you can search for certain words that would match the font you're using. So first of all, I searched for apocalypse, and then I searched for, I think it was hell, because that was a suggestion I had from one of my classmates. And eventually we used a font called A Trip to Hell and Back, which I thought looked really good as it sort of matched the apocalypse theme and it matched our genre in general. So I thought that was quite good. So I'm putting all these fonts into After Effects. I'm adding in animations. I'm creating the titles basically, and I think I went too overboard with my animations to start off with, because I had, I think, roughly 10 seconds for each name on the screen, which is obviously too long considering we only wanted our titles to be about 40 seconds to a minute long. So we'd only fit in like 6 names in, which was completely stupid. So, because initially it scrolls in, and then we had something where it scrolls out as well. Like the letters appear one by one, is what I mean by scrolling in and scrolling out. So we had the letters appearing one by one, and then disappear one by one, which looked good, but it's too long, basically. So I got rid of the because our teacher suggested your fonts are too, your animations are too long, you need to cut this down. So we took out the individual scroll out for each piece of text. So our titles went from 10 seconds per name to 4 seconds per name. Next problem I had was with exporting the titles. Now this probably took up a large portion of the time because I wasn't really sure what I was doing. I probably, in hindsight, could have looked at more tutorials before I tried to do it, but I thought it would be a lot simpler, basically, than it turned out to be. First of all, I exported all the titles, and I was like, right, great, this is done. Turns out I didn't have the transparent background on, so when we imported the files into Premiere Pro, we had a massive black background and just white text over it, and it didn't look right. So I had to go back, change all the titles, and add transparent backgrounds to all of them, which was just annoying. Then after I'd done this and I've exported it and it's all in the folder, Matt opens it up on Premiere Pro, and the fonts haven't carried over, so Matt has to go and download all the fonts that I've used. This second part was not a huge problem, but the first part probably took up about 4 hours, me trying to figure out how to do it, because you have to render, obviously, all of the titles before you export. So this took up a large portion of the time. So if I could go back and do it again, I'd probably look at more tutorials before exporting it the first time round. But we got there in the end, and it was all done by the time of the premiere, so we were alright with that. So the things I did well, I feel like my intro and outro sequences looked really good, and they were quite professional. Because the intro I thought looked really good with the smoke coming across, and the black and white suited our theme and our genre that we were trying to, suit the theme of our production, our production name, and also the colours that would be shown in the rest of the film. It sort of matched up with the white text that we were using, so I thought that looked really good. And The outro sequence also looked quite good because at the end of our film it fades to white. So I think, if I can remember correctly, because this is I'm filming this about a week after we've done it, the white sort of like, it fades to white at the end of the film, and then that carries over into our outro sequence. So it goes from white and then it fades across, like a black circle fades across, and then and it goes sort of grey coloured with like lines on the side, and then it just fades to black completely, and the text comes up, Days Left, which is the name of our film. So I think this looked really good because it combined the outro with the film at the end, and it sort of blended in as it went across, so I thought this was really good. Right, so things I could have done better, so let me check. Yeah, when I was making my titles, it fades across. Wait, I'm going to redo this bit. So things I could have done better.